welcome to the Good Music Show. We are back with a new episode, and this one is going to be focusing on some visuals alongside audio, as we will be talking about the very, very famous web series, the NPR Tiny Desk. A series that, if you know me well, you may have seen me complain about it countless times because I have my own comments about it that I'll get into as we do this episode. But I am somebody who just loves watching live performances, and I'm sure my co-host Danny here does as well, where yes. Tiny Desk is probably like the only, I want to say it's the only web series that you can find live performance. There's plenty of great ones like Triple J and so many radio stations that I'm forgetting about.
KEXP.
Yeah, KEXP. Sway has like incredible like rap freestyles. Off the record sucks, but it exists. On the record, I forget it's called On the Record. But Colors, which is like a cute one, but not. It's hit and miss. I think Colors is hit and miss.
Throw in a couple Western AF and Audio Tree.
Yeah, Audio Tree's great. But there's like a bunch at this point. But like Tiny Desk is like the champion of it all for almost a decade now. And we felt like we owe it to ourselves to do an episode showcasing two Tiny Desks that we consider to be classics and two Tiny Desks that we consider to be what's the word was secrets or underrated hidden gems,
lesser views, but personal favorites. You know,
our main rule was like the classic has to like have, I believe, like at least over 50 million views, and the whatchamacallit, you literally just said it. Hidden Gem has to have under 500k views, because typically Tiny Desk, they usually, I at least I haven't seen one that has like less than 100k views. Very sorry to whoever that is, but but generally they get like some views because there's just people who like watch all of them. It's like their TV, and then there's like the classics, which like are absurdly heavily viewed, and most of them are very well earned. Like I'll look through right now because I got the page on the tab right now.
Yeah, I have a list of the top 10.
Yeah, and it all makes sense. Like they're okay. Never mind. They're all not good, but but it makes sense. It makes sense on why these are the most viewed. Danny, why don't you talk to me about your experience with Tiny Desk? And do you remember like the first one you saw? Like what got you into them, and what's your general impression before I start ranting?
Oh, that's a good question. I can't say the first one that I saw, but I definitely like really started getting into them around the time my Hidden Gem came out, which was 2016, I believe. I have that down as well. Oh, actually, no, 2015.
Feels like 2010s definitely feels like when it was like whatchamacallit. Like mid-2010s, I mean. Era. Yeah, peak era, and also when everyone generally started getting into it, I would say.
Yeah, so I would say, that was the time when, I was in college. So that's probably when I had seen my first one and thought, oh, this is kind of a cool thing. And it's, pretty popular. I just remember watching a lot and finding new artists, from it. And also, like if I had heard of a new band and like listen to their album, I'd be like, oh, well, let's see what they're like live, and I'll watch their Tiny Desk, So it's been something that I've like kept tabs on, every once in a while, one will come out that you're like, ooh, this is like really exciting. I need to watch this the day it comes out, like it was that way when I saw Sierra Farrell's came out last year and Charlie Crockett had one come out last year. So yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it because you've alluded to this, and I'm sure we've talked about it a while, but I couldn't remember what like your specific criticisms of it were as a format. And like I guess I would say, if I had to say what my criticism would be, it's just like it's NPR. There's a sense of like self-importance that comes with that, just kind of baked in. For an example, I just found it was funny that one of the co-founder and host for the majority of the run, Bob Boylan, had a quote in an article I read about like when he retired a couple years ago. He was like, the in-person office camaraderie disappeared with post-COVID remote work, no longer making the experience fun. So I was like, what's his like sour grapes with the situation? Like that. So I just imagine as part of that, like, like maybe a little self-important, cringeness that comes with when you're at such a revered institution that's so, widely known. But, then again, I work in public media, you could say. So I'm going to give it my stamp of approval. I'm very curious to hear what your negative critiques are, Julius, but I couldn't really think of one. I was just like, I like that this exists. Is it perfect? No, but it's fun. And I do think we're I guess the one thing I would say is like, does Taylor Swift and Post Malone really need a tiny desk? No, I don't think so. But
do they have tiny desk?
Yes, they do.
They both have tiny desks? I did not know that Taylor Swift even had one. Oh my God. That's kind of a good pivot into like one of my issues.
Yeah, go for it.
But I will start with like complimenting it. As I mentioned earlier, me and Danny are both big fans of watching like live performance. Something that we got into during the pandemic was that there was these Instagram accounts that would post like archival performances. And that's the great thing about the last century is that so much of television was watching artists perform live. Like Soul Train, you got to watch David Bowie lip sync on Coke, and like you got TRL, and you got
even SNL.
Kids, SNL's performances. Yeah, and like when I was a kid, I loved watching 106 and Park and seeing like rappers come on there and kill it. Like the first time I saw MF Doom on TV, I think it was when De La Soul was performing. So I've always had a huge love for live performance, but as social media started taking the place of just, watching TV, that definitely disappeared on TV. Like MTV stopped being about TRL, it stopped being about live performances, and same for BET, where Tiny Desk has kind of like taken the place of that, where I would say Tiny Desk is not necessarily a TRL replacement or 106 Park replacement, but it reminds me a lot of this like MTV series that I was a huge fan of growing up, Unplugged, which was like, you may recognize it for potentially, for some people, probably the best Nirvana album is their Unplugged album.
Yeah.
For me, it's In Utero. I've always been an In Utero person. But like Unplugged is great. But like Unplugged is basically like, the opportunity to be able to see artists outside the studio and giving a like more raw and rugged performance. And it was a great series that led to like Jay-Z's Unplugged with The Roots, which was cool, where you got to hear, I think, Takeover for the first time, and Lauryn Hill's Unplugged, which was like a controversial release because she showed up with an acoustic guitar and like no one wanted to hear that, and she hated gay people all of a sudden, and like a lot of great stuff of Unplugged and great stuff.
I just have to mention my favorite, when Bruce Springsteen did it, he crossed out the and just did MTV Plugged.
Hell yeah. I didn't know he did that. That's sick.
Yeah, it's gotta be different.
But yeah, where Tiny Desk reminds me a lot of that, because like it's in this like very, very ugly corner of an actual office where the drummer is always uncomfortable. The more people you have, the more miserable they look, because they all probably met that day if they're not in the central band already. And it is all about like, we get to see these artists in their rawest way possible, which one of the picks I have is like probably the best example of that, of us being able to see an artist in the rawest way that we wouldn't expect, because we're known for them to be like, perfected basically, which is kind of why like some of my critiques outside of Tiny Desk being great of like, exposing people more to like watching artists perform live, is that it just isn't produced to the standard that I would love for it to be. Because when I watch like the old MTV Unplugged and similar live concert series, you can tell the production crew were on it and are killing it. And also with some of the like various series that we brought up earlier, like Triple J, and I keep forgetting the XP one, but I really like theirs.
KXP.
You said it. KXP. I like KXP's a lot. If you haven't seen the Mitski one they did, that one's incredible. But like they have a lot of incredible ones. But like those ones are so well produced, which mostly because they're in a way more concentrated space rather than, as I mentioned, a weird corner in an actual office. But that is kind of like the cool DIY aesthetic of it all. But it also unfortunately leads to like not as well produced, especially for what's like my favorite genre, rap. Yeah. Rap Tiny Desk are incredibly hit and miss. The Gucci Mane one is an incredible example of like how well it can be when he meets it on his own terms, where he has Zaytoven killing it on a church piano. But then you have the ones like Wu-Tang Clan, where it's awesome that you have most of the Wu-Tang Clan, they're killing it, but because of how animated they are, they keep fucking wrapping around the mic they chose, and the mic that they use for almost every Tiny Desk just isn't great for performers who are very animated. And it just leads to like, not really the funnest thing sonically, not the funnest thing when you're just listening to it, where there's not that many Tiny Desk that I would be like, oh, if they drop this on fucking Spotify, I will listen to this over the like recorded versions. And also with some of the older ones, even some of the newer ones, you could tell that the camera people, unfortunately, aren't the like quickest to getting like the best angle, which leads to the editing just being like a bit more like, not the greatest selection of shots to deal with, where like one of the greatest ones you've probably heard about and probably have seen at this point is the Tiny Creator Tiny Desk. That one is beautiful, but because of the cameras they use, it just also doesn't look as good as it should, where it's also the Tiny Creator got the creative freedom to like, have completely different lighting for this beautiful black crew that he's performing with, but like it just doesn't still look as good as it should, where my takes with Tiny Desk is definitely more nitpicky than constructive, but it's just nitpicky for the sake of the fact that everyone is like, oh, Tiny Desk is such a perfect web series. More stuff should be like it, when no, less things should be like Tiny Desk. Tiny Desk has a great root, and I am here to like appreciate it because it has like introduced so many like great artists to well-deserved audiences, which is what a public space like NPR should be doing. But it has unfortunately let me down as a filmmaker who loves filming musicians performing and always wants it to be like almost up to the standard of a studio version. But that's my general take on watching Tiny Desk. Like Alona, she could come in and let you know like how much I shit talk whenever we watch a Tiny Desk. Where ironically, because we did talk earlier about how the guy who claimed like he like ran the whole thing basically, he's mad about COVID. The at-home Tiny Desk contests we disqualified for our selections because while there are some great at-home ones, like Vince Staples is an amazing one, FK Twigs has a really great one, they aren't Tiny Desk. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that like they're very well produced. They got amazing sets for them, but they are not in this uncomfortable corner in this actual office that I love. That is my favorite part of it. I love that it's in an actual office and that NPR workers are forced to do their lunch break to Juvenile rapping back that ass up and then doing it a second time.
Yeah. I think, your critique is fair because I guess the whole idea of it is like setting this limitation, right? Well, I guess I can go into, I wrote a little, notes about like the origin of this series, and I'm
glad you did, because I was going to try to today, but I had no time.
Yeah, no, I just a brief, like, basically, here's the quick history. So in 1978, Bob Boilen, he's in a dance rock band, and he plays the synths, and the band is called Tiny Desk Unit. And they actually gave the inaugural performance at the famous DC 930 Club at the original location. I guess I didn't go to the original location, but I have been to the 930 Club, and I have beef with them forever because they lost my wife's winter coat. Probably
Fuck
because
the 930 Club.
We checked it, and then they gave it to someone else by accident. And when we went to go get it, they're like, "We don't know where it is." And then I was like, "Well, I guess we'll contact you and try to see if you find it." And then we came back for another concert, and we're like, "Hey, we lost our coat." And you lost our coat. Did you find it? And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Well, what can we do about this?" And like, "Well, I don't know. It is what it is." I also paid $40 for 2 double shots of Fireball there, which seems like I always use that as my like complaint about how expensive things were, but that kind of seems silly to complain about today because that's just everything now. But anyway, tangent aside, so Bob Boilen, he joined NPR in 1988, and he works on this program called All Things Considered, and he's like the one who picks the transition music between the segments of that news program, and that leads to the creation of All Songs Considered in 2000. And then that leads to the creation of NPR Music in 2007. So I guess it was around that time, 2007 maybe, him and his colleague Stephen Thompson go to South by Southwest, and they see this artist Laura Gibson, and they all have a horrible time because people are there. By the way, South by Southwest, I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but I've never heard anything good about it. I've just heard bad things.
I've always wanted to go for the parties, but not for anything official. Like all the film screenings and concerts sound like they're a terrible time, but I hear the parties are fine.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like plenty of fun to be had, but as far as like going there, it just seems like chaotic, and every band gets like 15 minutes to play, and then it's hot and sweaty and gross. But yeah. So yeah, she was upset that like the crowds there were like, I think they were paying attention to some sort of sports event, and they were talking through her set. And so Boylan and Thompson go up to her after the show, and they're like, well, you do have a better sound experience if you played at my desk. Am I right? And so that turns into the Tiny Desk concert. So they invited her. She was the first one. And since then, Bob Boylan retired as of October 2023. It's now being led by Bobby Carter. He's considered the host of it. So yeah, I will say an interesting thing about Bobby Carter is that he worked on the show, and he credits T-Pain as having the first viral Tiny Desk concert. And he supposedly stepped up around that time to try to bring more diversity to the show. So kudos to him for that. And I can't wait to talk about the T-Pain set. But yeah, I guess just to go back into my general thoughts about it, like I like this idea of having like a limitation, of like performing behind the desk in a small space. And it seems to me like, I don't know the full technical setup they have going on there, but the big difference between like the Tiny Desk home concerts that we are talking about and then the actual ones in the office is like the monitoring situation. Because it seems to me like when you have a standard Tiny Desk, you don't have anything in your ear. You're just listening to the sound in the room and the instruments. So they have to kind of dampen, like the drums so that you can hear the person singing or, stuff like that. Whereas in the Tiny Desk home concerts, they could have whatever they want. A great example, just so happened that one of Julius and I's favorite artists released a Tiny Desk today on 6/27, Rico Nasty. And she actually did a home one, and the one that came out today is more a standard one. So I was able to directly compare. And her home Tiny Desk concert, she was wearing in-ear monitors. So like that's the big difference. Like why we didn't want to really count that is because it's like it was COVID, but they still had the opportunity to have like a more like a show, a real live show based setup. Whereas this Tiny Desk in the office, it's like we have to keep everything quiet so you can just hear it in the room. There's amplifiers for like the instruments and everything's mic'd up, obviously to be recorded, but I don't think there's like a monitor that's playing the sound out to the crowd or even to the performance.
Yeah, which makes it even funnier considering some of them, because I just can't imagine it being that enjoyable to witness in person. Because I've seen people be like, "Oh man, imagine being in a room." No, right. Don't imagine.
Well, yeah, I think you could get a good idea from how Anderson Paak introduces his. He's like, "This is a perfect song because it's like a sauna in here," and then of course he opens up the song "Come Down," with the famous line.
I think this song is appropriate, being that it's like a sauna in here right now. Y'all niggas got me hot.
I think just to say what you're saying about the critique, that kind of limitation where they have like just the one mic in front and then they have mics scattered out throughout, but the main singing mic is like this one that's supposed to capture everything in front of the desk. And that leads to making the performers look bad when they don't, they're not used to that. Like the Wu-Tang example you gave, they're used to holding the mic right up to their lips. So like if they're forgetting that, they're lost in the performance, then you can't hear them because they're going crazy. That makes
because even bad. With like one of my favorite ones, Scarface, he has like a similar issue as well in it, because like he will like rap past the mic where his vocals will get lost throughout, which that one is like thankfully like held up by the musicianship and craft shown throughout, but definitely dampens it because of like the choice of mic, which makes sense. Like I've used that mic for several scenarios and it's typically a great mic, but it's not necessarily like the best one where I'm not the one who works there. I'm sure if I worked there I will understand it a lot better.
And for what it's worth, like a lot of times you'll see in the comments people being like, oh, this Tiny Desk sounds better than the original. So they are able to get it right for certain artists, you know.
Yeah.
It's just that when they get it wrong, it's a bad look, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I guess I didn't bring up at all what brought me to Tiny Desk.
Oh yeah.
Where the first one I remember seeing was Raphael Sadiq did one of the earlier ones. He was probably like the first like soul artist they've had, like at least neo soul artist they had. And if you don't know Raphael Sadiq, he's like, you would know him this year because he like co-wrote the like Centerpiece song in Sinners. Did you see Sinners yet, Danny?
I haven't yet, no.
Oh, you're gonna love it. But like he wrote the Centerpiece song in Sinners. He co-wrote How Does It Feel on Voodoo by D'Angelo. He co-wrote a lot of hit singles by D'Angelo. He was on Tony Tone Tone, which is always funny to say because Popstar has like a really great bit about that band. But he's like just a legend in R&B, has his own great solo albums. But he had like a great early Tiny Desk, which did its earliest job of just, you know, giving an underrated artist a platform to showcase why they're brilliant and letting them, like, you know, shine. But it wasn't really like, you know, like I said, it wasn't as well produced as I wish it was. So I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to check out all of these. Where I didn't really get obsessed with them until I came across Sylvan Esso's Tiny Desk, which is this electronic dance duo. They're like really poppy, really cute, really like muted. And they have a cool Tiny Desk where I'll be talking about the fits in the Tiny Desk videos that we picked. And in this one, the lead singer, she has like these really cool space boots that oddly we can see. You shouldn't be able to really see them because Tiny Desk, the way it functions, but she shows them off throughout. And like, and that led to me watching the Mitski one, which if I wasn't trying to like talk about T-Pain, I would have picked that one because that's probably my second favorite one. It's like just a great showcase of how raw an artist like her can take this medium towards. And then after those two, I was basically like, regardless of my feelings with it, I'm a fan. But if you do ever just want to see what I consider to be the worst Tiny Desk and that has like all the issues that I brought up all the way to the forefront, watch the Macklemore Tiny Desk. That is like a video that is so unfortunate that Macklemore is famous because so many people have watched it and so many people are like, wow, this is fun, but it is like not that well produced at all. And it's partly Macklemore's fault because he keeps jumping up on a table that the camera crew are not ready at all to film him on. So that's just another spiel about Tiny Desk for me.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I was gonna bring up like the popular ones because I'll go ahead and bring up the classics that we're talking about. Danny picked the Anderson Paak one, which currently sits at 116 million views, and I'm sure for some people listening that may have been your first Tiny Desk. And Danny brought up the one I picked for my classic, which is the T-Pain one, sitting at 80 million views, which I'm excited to go into that one as well. But I did want to bring up, you know, some of the popular ones. Mac Miller is the most highest viewed actual Tiny Desk. Technically, Dua Lipa is number one, but hers is a home concert. So until she goes to that uncomfortable... Actually, I think she did. She actually did. I don't know why that was not as viewed because I remember watching it. It's actually pretty good, her actual Tiny Desk. But her home one's good too, but, you know, I'm just being a dick. But, like, the Mac Miller one is, like, the actually most viewed one. And I'm curious on your take on it, Danny, if you've seen it. But, like, I do think it's such a... It makes me relieved that is like so up there because it is, in my opinion, just a phenomenal Tiny Desk. Like everyone is on their best, like possible level of performing in that thing. And it also unfortunately gives us like a final snapshot at the brilliance of Mac Miller before his unfortunate passing, where you get to really see this guy who like started out as like a frat rapper, finally becoming this like incredibly soulful performer who's able to blend blues and rap in such a genuine way, where it is like one of the few Tiny Desks that I would say I wish they made it to like a EP so I could get like a vinyl of it or something.
Right.
NPR, take my money. What are you doing?
Yeah, maybe one day they'll do like a compilation or something like that, like a box set, or that would be cool. But yeah, no, the Mac Miller one is definitely one of my favorites, and hard to not pick that one, but you know, you only get two. But yeah, it's fantastic. You got Thundercat, you know, performing on the bass in that one, and it's just it just sounds beautiful. And that's like, I mean, I haven't listened to every Mac Miller album, but Swimming is the one that I have listened to over and over again. So it's pretty perfect for me.
Oh yeah, great record, great Tiny Desk, and yeah, and like with popular ones, we got Sting. I've still have never heard a Sting song, but this Sting one's with Shaggy, so I'm kind of curious because I do know Shaggy. Yeah. I don't know. See, it's a home one. Who cares? BTS, who cares? Justin Bieber, he's at home. Who cares? Alicia Keys, that one's cool. Georgia Smith, but the popular ones, it makes sense because it's some of the most popular artists or artists who are just famous for being incredible singers, like Georgia Smith, Adele, Alicia Keys, the aforementioned Tyler, the Creator one, which I think I was a little harsh on how it was shot. It has a great wide shot. I just think some of the close-ups look really compressed, but I'm just nitpicking at this point. Yeah. But it's definitely one of the few channels where if you decide to be like, let me watch the most popular Tiny Desk, you're gonna have a great time because most of them are good. I haven't seen the Taylor Swift one because I didn't know existed until now, but I'm sure it's good. Unless Danny has a take.
No, I haven't watched it, but I will watch the Morgan Wallen one when that one comes out inevitably. Hell yeah. That's I'm putting a parlay on that coming out within this year. So I'm gonna strike it rich.
Shout out Morg. Do you feel like because I kind of talked about it a bit with saying rap Tiny Desk are very, very inconsistent. Do you feel like there's a particular genre for you where you think Tiny Desk are a bit, you usually are able to expect oh, this is gonna be great? Because for me, I have that with specifically soul artists, like anyone like Erykah Badu or Neo, or even when Usher came, when I was like, yeah, these are incredible performers. Of course, a Tiny Desk is going to be killer. Where do you have that with a genre or a particular style?
No, I mean, I guess I just kind of like seeing what people do with it because, despite the limitations, there are different, goals you can accomplish or routes you can take in your thing. So there's artists that I love that have done a just solo performance, like Sturgill and Tyler Childers, Chris Stapleton. He performed with his wife, but they're I'm showing you these songs. they're viewing it as a songwriting showcase. So it's stripped back to the fullest extent. Just like T-Pain basically, and showing you this is what I can do. This is how I sing, and these are what my songs are. Or in the case of Camp Cope and Diane Coffee, Mac Miller, they're getting a band together, or if they're already a band, that's applies too. But they're trying to do just a show-stopping performance that's not too different from what they do live, but it's just here's what we got in a short and condensed video. And then you got the stuff Gucci Mane or Anderson Paak and even T-Pain they're stepping out of their comfort zone and trying something completely new and kind of rolling with it on the spot. That's what I loved about T-Pain and Anderson Paak specifically is you can see the moments where they are making a call in the moment. There's one part where T-Pain's speed up a little bit, and then there's one part where Anderson Paak's keep going. So I just like that there's a little bit of variance in each one and what they do, and that just leads to a lot of surprises. I mentioned again the Rico Nasty one that just came out today that Julius you haven't seen yet, but her set list is super long, and she did a couple medleys of 2 songs, and then there's one point. Well, I almost don't want to spoil it, but I'll just say that there's a lighting change at some point in the performance that is really awesome.
Whoa. So, I am also curious because I haven't watched every Tiny Desk.
Yeah.
I that'll probably be a fun hobby for someone out there. The person who's I'm going to watch the AFI 100 movies or the IMDb top 250, where I'm sure somebody out there can prove it. But that's cool to hear because I've always wondered if they would let someone do a lighting shift like how Ty the Creator was able to with his.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you just got to sweet talk them or whatever, or, maybe people are just I'm just, because I did read that it's they're volunteering to do this performance. They're not being paid, which makes sense as a public media thing. So it's just about the promotion. So yeah, I was curious to see some behind the scenes stories about oh, this person just threw all this money, oh, I want to make it, I could imagine that was what Tyler the Creator did.
Oh yeah, that dude is obsessed with like
going
just
all
perfection.
out.
Yeah. And like also it's like funny, cause I was scrolling while I was listening, and I saw the thumbnail for the Olivia Rodrigo one, and this is the stands are can kill me for this, but the thumbnail made me think. I was like, oh, ALC got a tiny desk, which is so stupid. They don't look alike at all. It's just a shirt. It's like that's such an ALC shirt for Olivia Rodrigo to be wearing.
Yeah.
All the pop girlies got one. I'm kind of shocked to see like Sabrina Carpenter got one. That one's good.
Mm-hmm. Chaperones is really good.
What's funny is the Macklemore. I just found a Macklemore thumbnail, and even just there, it's upsetting me. Like he did not do the camera crew any favors with that one. Chaperone has, I think, probably my favorite like look that like a star does in one of these. Like she does like this like really cool drag queen like makeup. It's like really sick. It took me a second to get into that one because I didn't really like her slower songs at first, but here I am talking about Chaperone on this boy music show.
Yeah.
Well, what the fuck are we doing? What was it? I'm trying to see what else. But no, but like I definitely get what you mean, where it's like exciting to see what artists are gonna bring, where it's always like fun to see like with what musicians they're bringing in and stuff like that, and especially when when it's an artist that's not really acoustic at all. Like have you seen the Bad Bunny one?
I have not.
That one's like just great, which I mean, his music, it makes sense on how it's able to like easily convert to that, but it's exciting because like for me who always hears the stuff like in the club or whatever, it's fun to see him convert it to the NPR because as I'll get into a bit, as I have some notes about it with T-Pain, Anderson Paak, it's always funny seeing NPR, which because it's, where is it? Like in D.C.?
D.C., yeah. I've actually driven past the office building.
Yeah, like it's not harsh to assume that NPR is a very white space. They cut to the audience sometimes. I think I've seen it in a few of the videos where it's always funny to see someone play a song like Project Bitch, like in Juveniles, or Fuck Faces and Scar Faces. And I'm very excited to see that Rico Nasty included Smack a Bitch in her set list because they're exposing like how music can be about this kind of like aggression or this kind of like shit, and it's still raw. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great transition if you want to start off by talking about Anderson Paak's.
Might as well get the goat out the way.
Yeah, because he at the end he goes like,
what else y'all want to play? Should we do request hour?
Sure.
Yeah. This could be dangerous. Oh! I thought this was a more cultured, like, mature. So y'all like being called bitches over here? Okay, cool now.
Yeah, like it's
because they requested that song, and
whoever
like, oh.
I hope whoever requested that song never gets laid off because she is so
late.
real for that. So yeah, probably too late. she is so real because like the Anderson Paak one. I mean, you should start because you're the one who picked it.
No, go ahead. You were about to say something.
Like I love Anderson Paak. Like he's like undeniably one of the dopest artists I've ever had a chance to listen to. Like his album from last year is great. I don't think he's dropped a boring album. He's definitely not dropped a bad album. And the time when this Tiny Desk came out, it was during like what is probably like one of the best years for an artist, where he dropped Malibu, which was his breakout hit that had Come Down and Heart Don't Stand a Chance. It's a tour that I wish I had the money to go see. I did get a chance to see him on his Ventura tour. Incredible performer. I'm seeing him this October as well for his No Worries tour. So I'm excited. He's just a great performer. But anyway, but like this Tiny Desk, it feels like a bit of a victory lap because you get to see him like take these like songs that you can already assume are going to sound great live and see them in such a great restrained space. Because I'm glad that Danny brought up like, you know, how to go about recording it, because as someone who had to like, the little quick story, why I used to have this comedy house, I'm sure I brought up before. And I always wanted to have a drum set there. And I didn't really know how drums worked. So I got a drum set from these buddies of mine who were a punk band. I hate that I'm forgetting their names. If you're listening, I'm sorry. And they let me borrow their drum set. And old friend of mine who was a drummer, a great drummer, they're like, oh yeah, I could drum for the show while doing comedy and in between the sets and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, cool. So we get the drum set in my house and we're like, all right, well, let's see how it sounds. They start drumming and it makes my entire house shake. And I was like, oh my God. drums are loud, which no shit,
Yeah.
drums are loud. Where it's kind of like cool, the like low key sound they're able to immediately establish at the beginning of this set, like with like the drums don't come down, like it just sounds great. You know what I mean? Where I wonder if you had like any comments on the drumming going on here, because it's crazy what he's doing, drumming, singing, and rapping.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's insane. Like, he's not the first person to be a singer and drummer, but I can't think of a previous example of someone who can sing, rap, and drum all at the same time, and drum insanely well. Like this,
yeah, that's it too. Like, to do it well.
This just excites me beyond this performance. I mean, that's why I had to pick it. You got the super tight band that's what makes it probably even greater, is because the Free Nationals, that's his backing band. I never actually listened to their album they released individually. Is it good? Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, his song on this great. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Caliucci's is a great song in there. But yeah.
Yeah. But, you can't buy that chemistry, and, like, as great as some of the Tiny Desks are that have people with a band, sometimes they're, like, assembled for just this, or, like, they're collaborators, but they don't normally perform like this. So that's part of why I love it. You got an insane bassist, a great keyboard player, guitar player. And then
I love
Anderson
when they
Paak.
bring out the vocoder for Heart Don't Stand a Chance. Like, that is like one of the coolest surprises in any of these.
Yeah. And there's just, so many great moments. Anderson Paak is charismatic, funny, just great at that, between song banter.
And there was even like a small moment that you were talking about earlier of, like, you could tell, since these Tiny Desk concerts, they seem to be done in one take. Like, I'd be surprised if, like, they're like, I extend a lunch break, like it seems like they're done in one take.
I think they do like a rehearsal, like a run through, and then it's one take, and there might be cutting out bits or whatever, but other than that, it's just one.
And a bit I love, which is just even more insane, that like the last song Suede was like requested by the crowd, is that you can tell in the beginning they have to do a quick reset, and that reset is so cool to witness because they kill it. Like you would assume that, like, oh, how are they gonna figure out this song? This song's definitely not you joined their set list. I'm sure it is now after this fucking Tiny Desk, but like, because Suede, as he brings up, it's just a loop. It's from the No Worries project that he does with the incredible producer Knowledge. And like, I love, like, if you really want me to geek out by Anderson Paak, No Worries is all you have to really talk to me about, because that's probably my favorite project of his, because he turns into this like blaxploitation character where he doesn't refer to a woman in any positive word, and unfortunately it's awesome. And like, it's the funkiest, most soulful sample flips, and Suede, as he brings up, like, oh, y'all want to be called bitches, it's very nasty lyrically. And it's kind of like a precursor to what I was talking about earlier, of like exposing some like less classical or society fitting music to an audience that probably doesn't go out of their way to like hear it that often, where I remember, like, I watched this very late in college. It was probably like 2 a.m. on my phone, high as hell, and I was just smiling when they brought out Suede, because I didn't read the description before, and I just was not expecting it at all, where it's just a great version of a great song.
I will say the 1-2 punch of the No Worries albums being called Yes Lawd and then Why Lawd to be his divorce album is so amazing.
It's like when Why Lawd dropped, it was a great tweet that immediately pointed out that it is the reaping and sowing, because like, as I mentioned on the first album, like, he doesn't call a woman a positive word, and the second album is kind of the follow-up what happens, because he got divorced for Big Anderson Paak. And like, the second album is even more brutal, but you kind of see that, like, well, this is what happens when you're acting like you're a player or whatever, where you're making such a sad divorce album. But I could talk about Anderson Paak all day. But this Tiny Desk is great, where I'm glad you picked it. The fits are awesome. I love the like uniform of sunglasses that the band have. I was going to bring it up later, but I think the best dressed of the ones we chose is Diane Coffee and their band. But I will say Anderson Paak, if his band members were dressed as well as he was, they would take the cake. Because I love his hat and his the shirt he has under his jacket. And the chain is so raw.
Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, I gotta say, the Malibu album is the one for me. That's just my sentimental favorite, just because it was the first one I heard, and it really expanded what I thought was possible, and just it changed the way I view music. To be totally honest, when that came out,
it's the album that you can really tell that he was trying to show how inventive he was with like fusing this like range of soul with hip hop.
Yeah.
Like he put Schoolboy Q on a disco song, and it's incredible. He did that before some asshole like Calvin Harris could do that. Like, and we are so thankful. Where it's a classic that I definitely take for granted because of how huge it became. Where I honestly like forget that "Come Down" is like a hit. You know, like that's probably like besides the music he did with Bruno Mars, which is also great music, which. That just to me shows how good he is. He made me listen to a Bruno Mars album. I didn't hate it. I actually loved it. But outside those songs, "Come Down" is probably like his big hit, you know?
Yeah, that song is never left my rotation of songs that I listen to like frequently. Never gets old. One of my, I'll just say, "Put Me Through" is another masterpiece of a song too. I think the Tiny Desk version is even better than the studio version, to be honest, because I should mention now, I did make a companion playlist for this episode with all the studio versions of the songs that were performed in our 4 videos, so just check the description for that. But a moment in Heart Don't Stand a Chance that really stands out is I have the time code even 4:05. It's like that intro section where it's like, ooh, champagne falling down, and you got like in the studio version you got like the Yoshi sound effects, like but in the Tiny Desk he switches to like the verse groove, and he just immediately starts smiling and goes like, ooh, like he's feeling it, and it sounds like a Jay Dilla beat, like it's in that perfect like Jay Dilla time, and you can just tell like he was feeling it. Everyone was in sync.
I be catching you staring, be careful, the idle mind is a dangerous place to be left in, but keep your eyes on. Your heart don't stand a chance.
To drum with that pattern, not to geek out about it again, but to drum like Dilla live while rapping and singing. It doesn't, like, I know that this is like, it's not underrated. It's a classic for a reason. It has the views it has for a reason, but not enough people are yelling at people in the street that he did this.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it's insane. But yeah, no, I'm glad you brought it up because like it's just insane.
Yeah, I think that's about all I have about it. Other than I'll just mention it came out in 2016, August 22nd, 2016, if that matters to you. Maybe it'll just put it in context of like all these coming out at about the same time.
Yeah.
I guess T-Pain is earliest.
Yeah, and the last note I have for Anderson Paak that I will bring up because it's a bit of a tangent. I love how he talks about his band, which Danny kind of got into. Like his band, they all seem like they're buddies. It's probably the most you'll see any band smiling in a Tiny Desk. Yeah. Like everyone is like clearly like we all love performing together. We all love having fun. We love that we're doing this and we're killing it. And I love how he talks about them in between songs. He's like, oh, this song's about his ex. He's still ex, right? Like there's clear room and they don't let it take over the performance. And the reason why I bring this up is because I've been watching some of the Tiny Desks I like missed over the past like years because I haven't really been watching them as much as I've been wanting to. Kalela has a great one, but Kalela also has one that has this issue that I'm going to bring up. Sometimes artists need to not talk. And and you'll see with like as we talk about Camp Cope is like Joe Pesci. They just say thank you between every song. And she, I think, spends like 10 minutes talking about each member. And it's beautiful. You can tell that she really cares about every person in the band she's performing with. But it's also like, this ain't the Grammys, dog. And like, and I think that like it kind of like blunders it because when I see like, oh, a 20-minute runtime for Kalela, oh boy. And it's just her bragging about how awesome her band members are, which once again, awesome. I'm an asshole for talking shit on it. But I definitely prefer when it's like this, where it's like just sneak peeks at it. If you really want to know more, follow the motherfucker on Instagram, I guess. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it is a thing I've seen in other artists, Tiny Desk as well, where they just like feel the need to like give a speech between each like thing. Because even Scarface has like the best of it, where he talks with like how him and Mike Dean were either high as hell making one of the songs they're about to perform or whatever. Like it's charming, but it doesn't take on forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to master the banter. But it's funny you mentioned that because I watched the Thundercat one because you recommended that one, and he doesn't say a thing, just song, and then he's like, "Should I keep going?" And then he does 2 more songs and then ends it with "Thank you." That's it.
Just done. Good to go.
And that was an awesome one.
The funniest thing when that one dropped, it was around a time when like Gamergate was finally being recognized as a alt-right movement. For children who are listening now, there was a time when Gamergate was considered normal. It wasn't looked at as the Nazi recruitment camp as it actually was and is today. But because of that, people were worried that Thundercat had a song called Friend Zone. And the lyrics are explicitly about like, man, it sucks being in the friend zone. If you were like, what's up with Thundercat? And it's like, Thundercat don't got internet. And that's like the only time I ever use that line for artists is that like, he's just a anime nerd dude. Don't group him up with those. Because that friend zone bass line is incredible. I fucking love that song in that version.
Oh, yeah. I can't even believe what he can do with the bass. It's insane.
Definitely, you gotta catch him live. Like the top 5 concert I've been to was maybe his set I saw at Pitchfork. Incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can move on to, you want to do another classic or do you want to do your hidden gem?
Let's do a classic. Would you go to T-Pain?
Yeah, let's do T-Pain.
Baby girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you. Let me buy you a drink. And then I'm T-Pain. You know me. Convict music, Nappy Bowie. I know the club.
Which is my pick for classic. I'll try to make this quick because I do have notes, as I always do. T-Pain is, I think, I picked T-Pain because I think, for one, this is like definitely one of the best Tiny Desk. Definitely top 5 for me. Not necessarily my favorite, but I picked it because of what it represents. And what Danny brought up as well is that it made Tiny Desk into this great redemption machine for musicians, where Tiny Desk could be a place where, you forgot about this artist, but they're still here and they're still able to kill it. They're still able to remind you that they are more than the hit singles that you remember them for or what the media made you remember them for.
Right.
Where as much as I was like, joking about pop girlies having like Tiny Desk, imagine if Britney Spears did one. Like, oh my God, that'd be so great. But like, she's not. I don't know why, but I know she's not. But anyway, T-Pain is like the root of it being a redemption machine because T-Pain wasn't always seen as this like beloved, remarkable figure in pop culture. He was kind of a punchline, which is very unfortunate because out of all the people in the scene when he first came up in, he was easily the most humane, which is a weird word choice, but I will remind you, when T-Pain was relevant, his contemporaries were T.I., Soulja Boy, Chris Brown, Young Jeezy, and Kanye West, which all very talented people, but don't Google them and the word allegation. Whereas T-Pain, just great dude. And not trying to say that T-Pain has done any fuck shit himself. He probably has. It's not out there though. And the thing is, he has always been so humble despite his talent. Because out of those people that I brought up, T-Pain has some real excellent work that transcends the genres that he's made them in. Like, I'm in Love with a Stripper made me low-key, like, it undid. Because when you grow up as like a man in this country, you're taught about how to look at sex workers and how to like see them as lesser and not deserving of anything. T-Pain saying I'm in love with a stripper is the bravest thing a man did when Bush was president. Like, it's up there.
Yeah.
Because like, it's not only just a brilliant love song, but it's also like, man, this dude is like putting his talent into this beautiful message. And he became a punchline because auto-tune became this scapegoat for how to shit talk this like great era of rap and R&B. Despite it gave us Lil Wayne, it gave us not gave us Lil Wayne, but it gave Lil Wayne and Kanye utilized it during these like prime eras of themselves that led to influencing the second golden age of like ATL rap with guys like Future, Migos, and Young Thug, who I'm sure all three of them would rather go to jail than admit they were influenced by T-Pain, which is fucked up because T-Pain is awesome. So I'm saying all of this because before this Tiny Desk, he was a punchline. People will look at T-Pain and be like, oh yeah, don't use autotune like T-Pain. Autotune is such a joke. Because when Jay-Z announced the death of autotune, T-Pain was the only career that got sidelined. Like, I don't know what the hell happened to him between death of autotune and this Tiny Desk. He could probably tell you on the podcast, but I don't fucking know. It's not public knowledge. And I love that this Tiny Desk exists because it has like allowed this like great artist who deserves all the flowers to be able to get those flowers because it's a hell of a performance. Like literally from immediately joking about like, I got autotune in my pocket and then just giving this incredible unplugged performance of Buy You a Drink, which is just maybe a top 10 love song. Like, so yeah, that's my star for T-Pain. It's great. What do you have, Danny?
That's great. No, it came out in October 29th of 2014, and like I said, it was like the first viral Tiny Desk, and for good reason. And I do think it's perhaps the best example that I could think of a Tiny Desk literally changing someone's career. And because you just think about what he's doing now, like to pretty great success. He's doing like the cover album and then live performances of like Tennessee Whiskey and War Pigs and stuff, and people love it. And
people look to him as a great singer now, which wasn't a thing before this.
Like it's almost like cliche to say, but it's like, he reminds people like, I'm not using autotune because I can't sing well. I'm using it as an instrument. It's like we were talking about with Sly Stone and using the drum machine in the 70s, like he's using that to express artistically like what he wants to, a feeling or, an energy or whatever. And this not only proves like this set of songs proves that he's a great singer, but he's also great at crafting pop songs, R&B, like soulful songs, like
incredible songwriter.
I can't get over like Drinking Partner, that's like an insane melody. I love that melody. It's stuck in my head.
And everybody looking at me like I'ma stop ya, but I done found me a drinking partner. I think I need her to drink a drink with me. I found the girl of my dreams and I got ya. I done found me a drinking partner. Everybody wanna.
And yeah, like I'll say like I was one of those people, like I've talked about this before, like I was a rocker. I didn't want any pop music, any rap music when I was, my teens. But something that, made me respect T-Pain was him appearing with The Lonely Island. Like when my friends and I ate up that I'm a Boat song, or On a Boat.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm glad you brought that up because like, I think that like song immediately lets you know that like, he doesn't see it as like a crutch and he's not assaulted at it being a punchline.
Right,
he recognizes
he's
that
in on the joke and he's having fun.
Like, and he's also like, but doesn't it sound dope? Because that song is dope because of its inclusion.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's clearly like they're trying to create a song that he would create. Like that was their inspiration, and it works. And to this day, I still like when I think of T-Pain, I picture him in that tuxedo with the top hat on a boat. So yeah. And when I first saw this, like I don't remember when I first saw it, but I was one of those people that were like, oh, like wow, he's like insanely talented. But I didn't think too much of it. But I'm glad you picked that for this reason, so I could really dive into it. And I was comparing the studio versions of these songs to this, and yeah, it's awesome what he was able to do. And like, yeah, he's the one who took that hit of like, people like rejecting it at first, but now it's just normal, it's like, it's fully ingrained. It's been passed down the lineage of the artists you're talking about, like all the way down to Migos and then people trying to copy Migos. And which some people definitely take for granted and even still try to use as like
ew, auto-tune, which you're a nerd. It's just like you're a nerd if you can't get over it, because my thing is like auto-tune has always been dope. Stevie Wonder is using auto-tune, Funkadelic, Zap. Like, I don't know. I can't help but name them all. Auto-tune is like dope, and like I'm always gonna be grateful to T-Pain for like introducing to this generation, because all the artists we have named went on to make their own great music because of him taking that hit. And like I think Kanye deserves all the hell he's going through for not having T-Pain's back. Because have you ever heard the story of like Kanye like getting T-Pain like laughed at in his studio?
No, I haven't, but I will say I compared the Kanye West version of Buy You a Drink with the original one, and I was like, Kanye just totally ruined the flow of the song by having his verse where it was.
But yeah, no, which I didn't know. Also, I didn't know Kanye made a version of Buy You a Drink. I need to hear how
there's a
bad
remix of it on the,
Yeah.
He
He was doing that a lot. He did have a cool version of Throw Some D's, if you remember that song. But yeah, so like T-Pain was working with Kanye because Kanye only really started using autotune after they started collaborating with, you know, Good Life, which is one of the best pop songs out there. And 808 to Heartbreak was Kanye fully pivoting and being like, well, I can't sing, but I'm going to use this instrument to hide my emotions that I'm feeling as I lost my mom. I'm going for a divorce. And somehow, while being incredibly depressed, he still had time during a recording session full of people to be like, T-Pain can't write for shit. And had everyone chanting it until T-Pain left the room, basically.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing he's ever said.
Yeah. Bullying the guy. And then Usher even made fun of him on a jet, I believe. Where it's just annoying to see the industry be so rude to a guy who literally gave them the room to be more free, not only as vocalists, but as creatives. You know what I mean? Because the man was a hell of a creative. And, but yeah, what this Tiny does, thankfully, immortalizes his talent. And like, the Buy You a Drink version here is great. I also love how low key it is. It's literally just him and his pianist, funny word. And he is killing it on those keys throughout. Where like someone said like those two just need to like go on tour together. I hope they did at some point.
Yeah, because I wrote down the guy's name who's playing the.
Yeah, because I couldn't find it in the description. This was before they started crediting
Toro.
Everybody. Toro,
yeah.
Shout out Toro, man.
And that's in Up Down, where he like at the beginning of the song he's like speeded up a little bit, which makes sense for that song. But the thing that I immediately noted was like how genuinely nervous he is doing this. Mm-hmm. You can tell. Supposedly
this was done last minute. Like he didn't know he was going to perform. He just thought he was coming for an interview. Oh, which I only say supposedly because I just don't know why the hell Toro would be there then. You know. If it was just an interview, maybe he was just like the homie he pulled up with or whatever. But it would make sense because like he does seem nervous, yet because the guy is just so talented, it doesn't let up at all, you know. Right.
And again, I think this is totally worth checking out if you've never listened to, as well as the studio versions. Those sound great as well.
Mm-hmm. And like I'm glad you brought up Drinking Partner because that cover is just. It's tender to the heart. Yeah, it really is. Very tender. Oh yeah, but those are classic picks. Very tough to pick, but I'm glad with the ones we did choose because they are both hella concerts, hella sets, hella great sets. And I think Anderson Paak's like shows like a great one that has like, you know, a uniform band, whereas T-Pain shows like how great one could be when it's literally just two people, as low key as it can be. Because personally, I don't want to see Taylor Swift with an acoustic guitar, so I'll watch it. I'll watch it and I'll say it's good. Please don't kill me.
Just for if you're keeping track at home, T-Pain is 18th most watched, coming in just behind Coldplay at 17.
Coldplay. I still haven't heard a Coldplay album. I should probably change that.
Yeah, they got some fine songs, like, you know.
Yeah. I like the Viva La Vida Loca.
I'm not one of those guys that puts Coldplay as like the scapegoat for everything. They're fine.
Like my favorite thing with Coldplay is that it's like the best band for people who just don't want to get into rock because they're just like, yeah, man, this is great. Yeah, this is all I gotta hear.
Yeah,
like it's either that or Maroon 5.
Oh, so Maroon 5, their early songs, I love those, actually.
I've always heard the first album is really good, where I should check that
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, whatever album is like Maroon, not to use their band name as a descriptor, but they've got some good songs on there.
I think it's Whole Lotta Red. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Imagine a Playboy Cardi Tiny Desk.
Oh, man.
It'll just be like 10 minutes of an empty set, a very angry string section that's confused on why they were called the last minute.
Yeah. He dumps buckets of red blood all over the office.
Yeah. The mic breaks. He just bites the top of it off.
Yeah.
Chews it. Anyway, this kind of like helps me pivot to a hidden gem that Danny picked, Diane Coffee's great Tiny Desk set, because a note that I made is that I love, just at first glance, this is kind of what you would expect from a Tiny Desk concert. There's a guy with a mustache, there's a guy with a beard, there's a guy who doesn't have either of those, and then there's a gender fluid lead singer, a very uncomfortably placed drummer, and a string section that definitely met the band the day of recording.
Wow.
This is what Trump wants to defund. But the thing is,
make a graphic with that checklist and post it. That's like perfect.
Like that is like what most Tiny Desks I notice are. Like the string section, I think, is like a funny accompaniment that's just in way too many of these now. But the best one is probably Juvenile. I think Juvenile is very funny because it's like, why the hell did y'all get these people for this? But like, this is a really, really great one that I'll let Danny take the lead on, of like talking about, because like he's the real big Diane Coffee head, where I'll cut it when I can.
Yeah. So I first heard of Diane Coffee on the Comedy Bang Bang podcast. The band leader, Sean Fleming, appeared on it in 2015. So this is like I said, around the time I started getting into Tiny Desks as a whole. Sean was promoting the album that this Tiny Desk is also promoting, Everybody's a Good Dog. And I checked out this album and I was immediately hooked, and I ended up, through the course of my time in Carbondale, I saw like 4, maybe 5 Diane Coffee shows. Like I went to Hangar 9 in Carbondale.
Rest in peace, Hangar 9.
I was about to say rest in peace, but they're coming back.
Oh.
I Googled this because I wasn't sure if they actually closed or not. And they are coming back because they were saved by a couple people that I guess bought it. And I guess the former owner is still involved. But one of the people that bought it was a former CEO of Funko Pop. I thought that was very interesting. So
we might finally be able to do comedy there.
Yeah, hopefully they do well, because that was probably my favorite bar in Carbondale. It's just because I saw so many awesome bands there, and we interviewed Sean Fleming of Diane Coffee, Julius and I did, at Hangar 9.
Yeah,
that's what I was about to get into.
It was the first time I learned that you really need to consider where you record audio.
Yeah,
because it was like such bad audio, but still very happy we got to do that.
It was, we're like young, dumb college kids that think we can do anything. And we had our former podcast that will not be named, where I was like, oh, I could do an interview for it. So I somehow got a hold of Sean and got this interview set up. We did it in the green room, and it was very, if I were to go listen to it again, I would be very peeing my pants with cringing, but it was fun.
The funniest thing in that episode that we did, because I first heard of Diane Coffee because they're featured on I always get it wrong. I got it wrong back then that like Diane Coffee is the band, not necessarily the artist, but I don't know if the band themselves was involved in this Run the Jewels song, but you can hear Sean on there singing the like hook. I believe it's Crown. Yeah. Great song. Remember Run the Jewels was cool, and now we have no good leftist rappers. At least mainstream leftist rappers like Billy Woods and they listen are great, but like all the ones who are like, yeah, I'm leftist, they're not. They're lying to you. But anyway, Well, Road to Jewels was great, but when we did that episode to keep it bit driven, we did a freestyle over that song, and I don't remember anything that we said, but I just think it's so funny that the three of us did that. I do remember Danny having the best verse of us because he is the only rapper of that cast. But that was a fun experience that I am very greened out of remembering because I don't even remember being. Was I there for the recording of the interview?
Well, if I remember correctly, like I think you were like not gonna go. I don't know. Maybe you were nervous or something. I don't know. But eventually, I think you changed your mind and we did it.
Yeah, I just don't have memories of being there. That's why I'm like. But I do remember seeing them perform. That's the thing. Yeah. It's very weird. My memory of college. Too many.
Yeah. A lot happened. Yeah.
What does Anderson Paak call it? Narcotics. But
substances.
Substances.
Yeah.
What was it?
I have one.
But the Tiny Desk.
Yeah. So this. Yeah, I think this is like the. I mean, you kind of said it better than I could have. It's like the ideal. Like happy, perfect medium of what a Tiny Desk should be. You've got a band that's really tight, and you got the front person like really giving it their all and going out there. And Sean Fleming is just like going crazy, going Mick Jagger mode, David Bowie mode.
I love that the camera guy was so ready for it too. Like, you don't miss a fucking frame of it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not much room to dance around, but somehow, Sean makes the most of it. But and the songs too, like that's to me, like what still stands out is like, these are all like, all these 4 songs are like perfect, like throwback kind of, R&B, like 50s, a little bit. You've got the highly energetic Mayflower, which is like a kind of parody of like a salesman, trying to get your sale at any means necessary while also trying to like schmooze you and stuff, but also manipulate you. And Not That Easy, like a great love song, and that ends with a dual guitar solo. And I mean, there's like not much to say other than like which I'm guessing most people haven't seen it, but if you should really check this out. And as far as like there's been a few Diane Coffee albums that have come out since then that are all really great. I highly recommend Internet Arms. It's like if Everybody's a Good Dog is kind of like a retro, like R&B, then Internet Arms is like a 80s synth rock opera almost type thing. It's really great. But have you seen this before? Like I must have brought it up at some point. So was this your first time watching it, or was it like almost? It might as well have been your first time because you've forgotten about it. Or?
Definitely might as well have been my first time because I'm sure I've seen it before, but like I had not seen it in the way I did when you first like brought up for this episode. Where I've seen it about 4 times now. This is like up there as one of my favorites. Like the vocals that Sean is giving throughout is just astonishing. Like Green makes me tear up when I watch it. Like, that is such a great fucking song.
My heart bleeds and I need a friend. You know, not know I couldn't hardly breathe anymore.
Not That Easy. I love a schmoozy love song, and I love how much their band is committed to like doing those like woo's backing vocals and stuff. It's like real great. I love that when they start dancing for Mayflower, it scares the string section. And then the string section realizes, oh, we're just standing here. Everyone can see us. And like, it's very unfortunate because you can tell they're used to just being fucking under the stage like how most string sections are. But like, when there's a lot of like I love when shit like that happens. I love when Tiny Desk can pick up on awkward moments where the artist is just waiting to do their bit. Because they're always, unfortunately, having to be in the background of somebody that the camera is currently being pointed at. And I forgot to give Anderson Paak the medal of, like, the coolest a drummer has ever looked in one of these. Because the drummer...
Anybody has ever looked. I'll just correct you on that,
Anyone. but specifically drummers as well.
Yeah.
Because the drummer in this one just doesn't look comfortable like ever. And
Yeah.
I love that because he's still killing it, whoever they are. And like, but yeah, no, it's a great Tiny Desk where it's definitely my memory now. And like, I really, really enjoyed coming back to it. And also I love the shirt that Sean is wearing. It's like a evil Star Trek villain kind of gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta tell one story as well, because we're talking about Diane Coffee. The one other person in my life that I've bonded over loving Diane Coffee with is our former podcast that will not be named co-host Quinn Murphy. Shout out to Quinn. I know you're listening and just waiting for me to tell this story, Quinn. I know you're waiting, but you had to wait several minutes.
Also, if you're listening, Quinn, I saw that you were in Chicago, and as most people who visit Chicago, you didn't hit me up, so you are banned from Lincoln Park, and you're banned from any neighborhood that I'm currently. I'm doxing myself. Censor all of this.
You're banned
but
from
you're banned from
Naperville,
Chicago.
Julius's hometown.
You're banned from Naperville. I live in Naperville.
Yeah, well, born and raised.
But yeah, no.
I'm pretty sure when we talk about how tiny desks impact the world, T-Pain had a change to his career by performing on the tiny desk. Like, he opened up to a whole new audience and went in a whole new direction musically. Well, someone, I am sure, saw this tiny desk and then went to go see Diane Coffee in Champaign-Urbana and was so in love with the first song, Spring Breeze, that he shouted it throughout the whole concert to play Spring Breeze, play Spring Breeze. And that's just something Quinn and I have always remembered and joked about. Like, I mean, it's funny to request a song like, at a small size concert venue where you can be heard if you so choose. But like, you got a lot of gall to be able to be like, hey, I want to pick the song now. Especially when because I guess to clarify, like, Sean Fleming refers to himself and the band as Diane Coffee kind of interchangeably, but it's kind of like a persona that a performer takes on, and like Sean is known to like change costumes even at a small scale concert, like Lady Gaga level. Like, I remember at Hangar 9, like he went behind like a little what do you call it, the things in Animal Crossing that stand up and you go behind to change, and changed into like a sparkly outfit, like middle of a song in the middle of the concert. So I just think it's funny that someone would be like, I want to pick the song next. When this show is like so like perfectly orchestrated, it's like a Broadway musical almost. Like, that's the level of emotion that's put into every performance and stuff like that. So
like, I only shout at shows where the artist is like, what should I play next?
Yeah.
Like, because I always have a song I want to hear when I go to a concert, but I'm not going to like just.
Yeah. I've never had that happen to me, by the way. Like, no one's ever asked me what we should do next.
Like, Mike does it at his shows.
Oh, really?
I'm trying to think who else. Not that many people. I see Mike twice, and he did it at both shows. So it's probably just him.
Yeah.
Because usually artists, and not that Mike's
crazy.
shows are bad. His shows are great. But like, he's also somebody who like, he just loves to perform.
Yeah.
Because he has all his songs memorized and stuff. But like,
That's
most artists
insane.
generally have like their shows like, orchestrated. Like, you can't yell at Magdalena Bay, hey man, do that shot again. like they got 5 costume changes. But that's funny. That kind of reminds me of another story I told Quinn, because if he's listening, he will also be amused to hear me bring this up.
Oh, he's dripping with sweat. He's so excited right now. Aren't you,
it's
Quinn?
It's not the childish Gambino story, Quinn. But like, it's. I could not enjoy Bon Iver's third album for almost half a decade, because when me and Danny and Quinn were recording this podcast that won't be named, Quinn would be the one driving us to Danny's place to record, and he would like listen to this Bon Iver album each drive, and he would be dancing while driving, like intensely, like insanely, and singing along to it. And like, it was before I had a chance to really sit down, listen to it on my own, because with Bon Iver, I don't know, I'm a lame motherfucker with him, but like, I'm just like, I want to go on a walk. I just want to like sit down and like hear that motherfucker whisper them sweet things in my ear. So to have to experience that with Quinn in this car, I was like, fuck this album, fuck pivoting to electro pop, fuck Bon Iver. And an endearingly way, because Quinn loved it so much, but I don't think he was even aware that he was causing this for me. Because like, how do you tell someone stop enjoying this?
Stop having the time of your life right now.
Because he will let, if he liked a song, he will let someone know.
Yeah.
You know.
Shout out Quinn.
Shout out Quinn. But but Diane Coffee's Tiny Desk, definitely check it out if you haven't. It's currently at 382K views, which is more than the guy who used to host Tiny Desk's video, which I saw while I was scrolling. He's only at 40K. What a loser. Sorry.
His blood must be boiling.
Yeah. But even if you don't watch it,
that's about the reaction that joke deserved.
I just called it. But even if you don't watch the Diane Coffee Tiny Desk, you should join me in bullying the guy who made the last comment that says this sucks.
What?
And I replied to him saying, you suck. He made this comment 2 months ago, but I hate that it's like the most latest comment because Cameron definitely has beef. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Diane Coffee fucked his mom or something. So, they probably all took turns. Sorry if Cameron M8781's mom is listening. Anyway, but Diane Coffee's Tiny Desk, check it out if you haven't. And we'll go over to the final one we have to talk about, my hidden gem select, Camp Cope, which is a incredible trio of the amazing musicians. We got a singer guitarist, we got a bassist, we got a drummer, and I believe they're from, let me Google it just to make sure, because I'm just the kind of American who can never tell an accent. Australian. I was gonna say New Zealand out of being scared, but Australian. So yeah, they're an Australian band. And I picked this one because I've always Camp Cope was like one of the few rock bands I kept up with when I was in college. And they were put on to me by my good friend Haley Walsh. Shout out Haley if you're listening. And they're unforgiving. Like, some people look at them as a feminist rock band, and I would say the feminist themes are interweaved. It's not like explicit. It's just they are women who are demanding respect from a music industry that's patriarchal. And they make that point clear through the first song they do in this Tiny Desk, the opener, which has a bass line that will forever be in the back of my head, just something to hum to. It's so catchy. And and I've always loved a band that is able to like wear their politics on their sleeve while having it like be the driving point for their music, where all their themes are, a lot of the themes in Georgia, the lead singer's like lyrics are like kind of like thinking about this like, oh, I'm insecure, but why? And it's an institutional thing. And like you get to hear a sample of that great music in this Tiny Desk, which is as lo-fi as possible. Like, even on first glance on the wrong speakers, it can sound weird, but the more you listen to it and the more you like get into that bass line and George's amazing vocals and Tomo's great drumming, it's a hell of a hidden gem for me. How did this one take you, Danny? Because I'm sure I probably talked to you before about Camp Cope. I don't know if you've like listened to them much outside of this even maybe.
Yeah, if you have brought them up, I never got around to listening to them. So this was like my very first exposure to them as a band, and I was like really loving it. And I'm glad you specifically started off by mentioning the bass line of the first song and just the bass in general, because that definitely stuck out to me as being like really cool, like the interplay with the melodic bass that's done on like the higher strings, like the and it's funny that song actually specifically calls out, it's like listing some like, head ass statements that have been made by males in the music industry towards them. And one of them was like, you need a low end or whatever, something like that, like implying that their bassist isn't playing low notes. So like the sound isn't balanced. But to me, like that's the most fun and unique and interesting part about these songs is the bass playing in it and how it plays with the guitar acting as more of a rhythm. Like, because usually the rhythm section is the bass and the drums, but in this case it's the guitar and the drums, and then the bass line is like acting as like the driver of the melody. Like that's to me like their signature sound.
Oh yeah, and Kelly's bass is like a highlight on all the albums they've released. And something I do love that like in the original version of the song, the opener, after that like she shouts "Show him Kelly," but here, which is a very sweet alternative, she says "Love you Kelly," which is like the smallest of like, you know, band personality we get in this thing. Because as I mentioned earlier, they just say thank you between each song. And hell, I don't even think Georgia really even looks up for most of it. Like they're all looking down as if you could kind of tell they're a bit, they could be nervous. They could just not really even care. Either way, it's like interesting to witness because they're killing it. Like their sound that they're creating here, it says different. And like, it's a tiny desk I've always like, you know, wanted to give NPR props for putting going, because when they first came out and gave hell, because to give some background context, the Camp Cope first caught like a lot of their like virality because they called out a festival that they were scheduled on because they pulled all of the woman acts at the earlier times and reserved all of the later times for the male bands. And they rightfully called them out, which led to like the opener being more about like how men who treat women shitty in relationships is just as the same as men treating women terrible in the music industry, where misogyny is the same everywhere you can find it. And what was that, 10 years ago, or what did they say, 6 years ago?
2019.
But yeah, but that was still a time where women artists were being disregarded if they chose to speak out about misogyny. You can even find some really stupid posts on Reddit as like the only times where you see a band like Camp Coke get brought up, where NPR definitely was probably, you know, trying to fill the schedule, or whoever writer picked it was like, yo, we really got to have them on. But it's really great that we have this here of them performing their asses off, and the great KEXP video that I'm sure you can find suggestions for this video, because the saddest thing is that Camp Cope is no longer a band. They broke up like a few years ago. I believe Georgia is still doing solo music, which is really great, but it's more pop than rock, at least like the last album I checked out was. And it's a shame because I think a band like Camp Cope should have longevity more than anything. Not that I really know the reasons for the breakup either, but I believe it's all good between all of them. But yeah, it's a hell of a tiny desk that really showcases a like different kind of fun rock music that also wants to like have some real strong messaging next to it as well.
It's another old mouth to preaching equality. It's another straight cis man who knows more about this than me. It's another man telling us we're missing a frequency. Love you, Kelly. It's another man telling us we can't fill up a room. It's another man telling us to book a smaller venue.
Yeah, and yeah, great songwriting. You know, I feel like they probably would be annoyed by the constant repetition of this comparison, but their vibe and, you know, style of music is very similar to what I love about Courtney Barnett, who's a fellow Australian artist sings, you know, like kind of somewhat pulled from real life. I would say Courtney Barnett is maybe less, there's more like, you know, storytelling kind of based on, you know, her perception of reality, but like Camp Cope definitely seems more personal and like specific about what they're talking about in their songs. But it's that style of like, of like songwriting that, you know, you're hooked into what's going on, but like with the narrative of what they're saying. And in addition to being like super great rock music, like awesome hooks, just like what I love about like Nirvana, it's just like great addicting rock songs, you know, that are fun to listen to. Even the ones that subject matter are not fun to think about, you know, like the second song, The Face of God, like that's like a really, you know, brutal retelling of just like the feelings that you get when you're dealing with, you know, whatever you want to call it, sexual abuse or misconduct or whatever, and how society basically abandons you because they like one person, like the person that is doing this to you, they like one of their songs, so they're willing to just forgive all of those feelings, like all that pain they caused you just because of one song. And I like, it's really powerful that in that chorus, like she like specifically repeats like he's got that one song I like how just I can't even think of the word I'm trying to say, but like one song and you're willing to just overlook all of this that is, being told in the rest of, in the verses and stuff. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, no, it's really great songwriting. And I already brought it before, but Georgia is just a vocalist who just goes all the way of it. And that's something that I do love a lot, especially rock music, as a strong vocalist, where I have always insist people to check them out because at first glance, it could be something that people can either like misconceive what to expect or like misconstrued it however way. Because one of their best songs is called Jet Fuel Melt Steel Beams, which people are like, oh, that's a dumb meme, but it is like a brilliant song, as they are a very political band.
Yeah.
But yeah, where I'm glad that you were into it, and I hope more people check it out. The Tiny Desk, as it's currently at 225K views, and let me see what the most recent comment is. If it's also, it'd be funny if it's the same guy.
Yeah. Someone's like watching a live feed of us recording right now, and it's going and watching these and commenting negative things.
Yeah, but no, it's just some person say George's voice is sublime, and I do agree. 6 days ago,
That's
yeah,
nice.
and 5 months ago, Steve said, "Too bad they broke up," and I do agree, Steve. So go in there, show some love in the comments for Camp Cope.
Yeah, leave a nice comment. It's what Mr. Rogers would do. He would go on YouTube and find videos that have, small amount of viewers and just leave a really thoughtful and nice comment. Just take the time to do that. That's all I'm
so
asking.
glad Mr. Rogers wasn't alive for Twitter.
Yeah. Mrs. Rogers just had to put him down.
Like the world would have turned their back on him just like they did Bill Nye. Do you remember when Bill Nye was like the coolest guy? And then as soon as they gave him a new show, everyone was like, wait, he's not racist? It's like, well, yeah. A scientist isn't, a smart scientist isn't racist. Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, the real heads like me that were on the Reddit, I fucking love science. We knew all along.
Yeah.
That he was
I just
cool.
always thought that was funny. Like, I was like, why the hell y'all mad at Bill Nye? Now y'all got Neil deGrasse Tyson. Cool. You got rid of him for a serial rapist. Great job, guys. He's not even smart. I hate that guy.
Well,
anyway.
he's got that one theory that I like, so I'm willing to look past any.
What, how many MAGA caps can I hold in my arms? Welcome to the Good Science Show. We talk about scientists.
Yeah.
But but that's those are our hidden gems. Those are our classic picks for Tiny Desk. We could talk way more than we already could. Pick some more favorites, but that's all we got, I believe, for this episode. We'll probably do a bonus at some point when I finally get a chance to check out the Rico Nasty one, because I do want to talk about her and her doing a Tiny Desk.
Yeah.
And if you have any favorites, feel free to reach out and let us know what your favorites are. And if you want to check out the studio versions, Danny thankfully has made a playlist for that, which will be available on all the music platforms. And speaking of that, I always love giving updates on my music streaming journey. Yeah. I have quit Apple Music as of this week.
What?
And I've went with YouTube Music. At some point, I'm going to be listening to toilet music or Walmart music.
Walmart Plus.
Walmart
music.
Plus music.
Brought to you by Walton Goggins.
Walton Goggins. How have they not made that marketing campaign? I actually don't do that.
Walton
Goggins. You just
he is on a Walton Goggins is in a Walmart ad campaign.
All right, get that money.
Cloggins. Well, like Walmart Cloggins is the premise, I think.
Fuck it. I can't get mad at that guy. I really can't.
Yeah.
But what was it? But yeah, no. So I'm doing YouTube Music. My first impressions after this first week is that it has probably the best autoplay of any music stream platform I've used. Like it just immediately knows, like, oh, you're listening to MF Doom? Okay, so you're gonna want to listen to Dilla and Madlib and other artists of that variety. Unlike Apple Music, which is like, oh, you're listening to MF Doom? Well, Bryson Tiller just dropped a new song, bitch. It's like, what? Where do we go from it? Spotify is even worse about it. Where it's like, hey, have you heard Turnstile yet? And I'm like, I'm listening to JPEG. It's like, I don't know. where it's something I've always wanted because I'm very lazy sometimes about wanting to pick what music to listen to, where I'm just glad I can like literally press play on a song and YouTube will immediately have like a great playlist waiting for me to work from. The only parts that does suck is I do miss having cool looking lyrics because YouTube Music does not have a lyrics section like Apple Music and Spotify does. There's also no fun following. I can't see what my friends are listening to. I love stalking my buddies. I can't do that on YouTube Music. And there's no app on desktop, so I have to like use the browser. But I can live with it. The reason why I left Apple Music, I am just sick of the glitches. It's been on like I had a glitch that I was able to find Reddit posts for that gone as far back as 5 years. But anyway, that's my music streaming corner. Just want to give a little update. People are looking for a different thing to try out.
Well, I can end the episode with a joke that was made on both of Julius's picks, if you want. Unless you have anything else to say before I end the episode.
Oh no, I just YouTube Music. I give it a 8 out of 10 compared to Apple Music's 5 out of 10 and Spotify's 3 out of 10. So it's currently in the lead. Spotify was at 5, but then they gave $10 billion to AI to kill people with drones. So that's where your money's going, people. I'm the woke friend.
Yeah, and I'm the non-woke friend. That's why we're such a great duo. But I guess I'll just say thank you for listening. Check out these awesome tiny desks. Looking forward to our next episode, which is I believe it's our first listens. First listens album neither of us have heard. So we're going back into album mode.
Oh yeah.
And I'm excited for that. And with that, I'll say back to work. That was the joke that T-Pain and Camp Cope made at the end of their tiny desks. Because of the people in the office that work for NPR and have to listen to music and then go back to their regular work days where they're filling out spreadsheets and doing various social media promotion stuff.
Yeah. And also convincing children to transition and get pronouns. So as we know, NPR is woke and we need to get rid of them. Yeah,
defund NPR, PBS. Get rid of that. It's boring.
Defund the public. Let's make everything private.
Yeah, that sounds good. I like privacy.
Let's make Sesame Street look like Wall Street too. The money never sleeps. I don't know why I said that.
All right. Bye.
Bye.